Halloween, if you believe in Halloween. Not everybody cares for Halloween. Anyways, this is going to be a story time. Thought this would be fun because it's Halloween. I even got my festival nails on. Ooh, my little purple. Anywho, the story I'm getting ready to tell you guys is based on a true story. Yes, I said based on a true story. So here it goes. About 5 years ago, one of my friends asked me, which I call her, she's like my third mommy. She asked me to work for her, which she runs a small home health care / referral service for senior citizens. And she asked me to work for her because she had to go, excuse me, she had to go and sit with her sister who was ill at the time. So I said, no problem. I had, a couple of days off of work, no problem. Well, this lady, which I already knew the lady, she lived in a very rural area, like 2 hours outside of Atlanta. And it's just a spooky little town. Like everything about that town is spooky. Like when you're riding through there, like the houses and just a spooky little town. Like one of those towns, when you're rolling past it, if you blink, you will straight miss it. So anyways, her client lived on a big property. On that property was a small cemetery. Actually, the cemetery, the people that were deceased, which I think it was a husband, a wife, 3 children, and I think the grandma or something like that, or one of the grandma and grandpa, something of that nature. It was just a small cemetery. Actually, the people that were buried there, they have been buried there since I think like the early 1800s or something like that. You can barely make out what it says on their grave. How I found out who they were is I actually Googled them. And that town that this lady lived in actually is named after those people that were buried on her property. Now, many years ago, the elderly lady I was taking care of, her parents purchased that property. So the property had been passed down generation, to the next generation. Let me give y'all a backstory on the house. So there's 2 houses on the property. One of the houses was her parents' house. The other house was, the senior citizen lady that I was taking care of. One house was her parents' house. The other house was her house. And they all lived on the property together. But it's a big enough property, so it's not like you can look in somebody's backyard or whatever, and inside their home. So the house I was staying at was her home, the senior citizen, the senior lady, the old lady. We're going to call her the old lady. So I knew that there was 3 deaths in that family, or 3 deaths that occurred in that house. Now, I don't know how many people died on that property before then, but like I said, there was a cemetery, and it was literally like you can stand on this old lady's front porch and you can see the cemetery. And I know that the old lady's mom and dad both passed away in their house, and I know that her sister had committed suicide, who also lived in that home, inside that home. So yeah, one night, she goes to bed. I put her to bed. She had Alzheimer's, and she had a dog, and then her daughter's 2 dogs were over there because her daughter was, overseas somewhere, and her daughter wanted, my friend to dog sit. Don't worry, y'all. My friend got paid very good money to take care of this lady, and so did I for those little lousy 2 days. But Anyways, you go to this property and you're not allowed to leave. You have to actually spend a night there, which was fine because she lived like 2 hours from where I stayed at, and I didn't want to do all that back and forth. So the dogs, I'm in the living room. The lady's in her bedroom, which the living room literally is next to her bedroom, and the dogs are all kind of by me, sleeping on the couch like by me. So I know where all the animals are. It was 3 dogs and a cat, and the cat was up. He was like up in the windshield thingy, you know, and how they have in those old homes. So I'm sleeping, and about 11 o'clock, I hear this noise, this footstep noise. I didn't think nothing of it because she had wood floors, and I know sometimes, you know, the dogs wag their tail and maybe hit the tail. So I didn't think nothing of it. I turn around and I go back to sleep. Probably 30 minutes go past, I hear it again. This time it's louder. It's boom, 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 boom. So I'm like, what in the heck? So I get up and turn the light on. I go and check her. She's knocked out. So I'm looking at the dogs. They knocked out. Ain't nobody wagging no tails. So I just, you know, I said, okay, it's just my imagination. So I lay back down. And as soon as I lay back down, it sounded like somebody was playing on the stairs now, like they were running up and down the stairs like kids, just up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So I was like, okay, now something is in this house. Then what topped the cake was I heard giggling, like almost like an older person laughing, you know. Like they having, like a man having a good time, smoking a cigar, maybe reading a newspaper and laughing. I said, you know what, that's it. I get up, I go check on her, I wake one of the dogs up, I get a flashlight, I grabbed a knife, and I just started looking around, looking at the doors, you know, looking everywhere. And I said, there's nobody in this house, so what the heck? I said, let me lay down again, but at this time I could not sleep, but it just kept getting louder. It was like you can hear it come from the stairs, and it just was louder, and the giggling, and then all of a sudden it sounded like a woman joined in with the giggling. I said, you know what, no. One thing she don't do is play with the dead, the unrested. And a lot of times when suicide happens, that soul is unrested. I called the police. Yes, I did. I called 911. So the police comes, and the police asked me, have I called the police before out there because of strange noises? I said, no, I've never called the police. And they said, well, we got a phone call about a month ago for the same situation. I said, well, it wasn't me. And they said, no, we got the name and everything, but they couldn't release the name to me. At this time, I had called the old lady's son-in-law, which lived probably about 15 minutes away, to come over. It was 2 officers and the old lady's son-in-law. They walked through the house, all through the house, went in the backyard, which behind her house was like a creek and like a bunch of trees and a forest. It just was a scary situation all around, y'all. So the old lady's son-in-law agreed to stay the night, and he said he was going to stay downstairs, which that's where I was hearing the noise come from. So he did. He stayed downstairs, and y'all, I'm just relaxed, and I'm in my little chair. You can't see the back of the chair, but it's like one of the little relaxing chairs. So he stayed, and I no longer heard the noise anymore. So when my friend came back and, you know, relieved me, we talked a little bit, but she kept saying, no, darling, no, that's just the dog wagging their tail. And so this incident happened again because my friend actually asked me to come out there and sit with her for a little while. And sometimes that's what I would do, is I would sit with my friend and the old lady. And I was like, it was probably 1 o'clock in the morning. We were all just talking. The old lady's still up. We was eating, and you know how the Southern folks do, eat, talk. That's our favorite thing to do in the South. And she heard the noise too. And I said, I know that I'm not crazy, so I know you heard that noise. And my friend kept, no, darling, no. So anyways, a couple of months later, the old lady ended up passing away. She succumbed to her Alzheimer's. She passes away in the house too. And I talked to my friend about that afterwards, and she says, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to scare you, but yeah, I heard the noise. I heard all of it, and I've always heard it. And I was like, there is something that is just not at rest in that house. And she said, yes, I know, I heard it, but I didn't want to scare you, and I wanted you to come back and see me, so I didn't want to tell you that I heard it too, and it was not the dogs. So I'm like, she made me so mad for not telling me that. But y'all, that was the scariest thing. I have never encountered noise actually from a spirit and somebody else telling me that they heard it too. Now, I've encountered spirits before, but nobody believed me, and I never heard the spirit talk or move. I just seen the silhouette of the spirit. But my friend actually said, yes, what you heard was true. And also, the police officers was like, we got a call out here before, so they all verified that I wasn't losing my damn mind. Now, this is going to be part 2. I got another story for you. I was staying with my aunt in the Midwest. This was many years ago. I think I was probably like 18 years old. And I was staying with her. We had stayed up late doing hair or whatever. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to drive home. I'm just going to stay at my aunt's house. And this is when I first got married. And at this time, my husband was, he was in a training. They sent him to a special training. He was in the Air Force at the time, so they sent him to a special training. So, I decided to go back to the Midwest while he was in that training, because that training was like for 6 months, and, politic with my family. And so, mine had asked me to come over there and do her hair and bring her some DVDs. So we just stayed up all night. And so like I said, I decided to spend the night over there. Plus, I didn't want to wake up my mom coming through the door. But anyways, as I was sleeping there, and I was in a deep sleep because I was so tired, I seen what I thought was my mother. And I remember immediately saying, what you doing over here so late? And then I didn't think nothing of it, because you know how sometimes things happen in your sleep, and then like you don't really think nothing of it, because really your brain is still shut down, but your eyes are open, and you can kind of understand, but not really. Y'all know what I'm talking about, like when somebody wake you up out of your sleep, or you think you hear something. So I had said that, and I was like, okay. So the next morning I got up, and I was like, honey, I'm about to go home. And I was like, Mama. And then I was like, so I'm yelling for my mom, and I had talked to my aunt about it, and because she would sleep on the couch and I would sleep in the back room, but there's like a kitchen that separates it, and there's a door. And I said, was my mama over here last night, like late last night? She said, no. I said, are you sure? She was like, I was on the couch. I would have had to open the door for her. It ain't like she had a key. So I said, she said, why? I said, I could have swore I seen a lady standing in the corner staring at me that looked like my mama. But then again, the lady had an afro, and my mom hadn't had an afro since the 70s, and the lady's hair was black. And my mom always dyed her hair blonde. You know, she kept her hair blonde to camouflage the gray, because, you know, I think I told y'all this in a video, we are premature gray heads. Like, I've been seeing gray in my hair since I was 18, and that was inherited from my mother. So my aunts began to tell me this story, and she was like, you know, she was laying on the couch and she seen somebody walk past her with a yellow dress on. This lady looked like she was stuck in the 70s with a yellow dress on and an afro, and the lady looked like my mom. And so she said she seen the lady walk right past her, go through the bedroom, and it's like she stood there for a little bit and walked on downstairs, because my auntie had a basement. In order to get to the basement, you had to go through the back room where I was sleeping. And I said, why you didn't tell me this? She said, because I thought I was dreaming until you told me you saw her too. And I was like, you know, I don't know what religion you guys are, and I don't know if you are religious or what background you are, but growing up, my family used to always say, when you see certain things or you feel certain things, that means death is upon us. So when I thought about that, I immediately started pleading the blood of Jesus over my mother. I just started praying, just pleading the blood of Jesus, because this lady looks like my mom. And so, you know, I was telling my auntie to pray. Well, my mom was fine. My mom's still kicking. And I Googled the history of my auntie. My auntie later on, not too long after that, moved out. I think she was just kept encountering this woman, and it just scared the crap out of her. So my auntie moved not too long after that. But I Googled that area. That house that my auntie lived on was fairly, I won't say it was new, but I don't think it was built in the 70s. I believe it was built like in the early 90s, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, there was something there before then. And I think this happened so long ago, and I remember looking it up. I said Google. I don't even think Google exists back then. I remember looking it up, but either somebody was killed, like a black woman. She was either killed or she died, and she was younger, and it was like around like the late 60s, early 70s. So yeah, we encountered that woman. That was pretty spooky, y'all. It is spooky.